Welcome, aspirants. Today we're diving into one of the most beautiful and intellectually rich periods of ancient India, the Sangam Age. Seriously, if you love literature, trade, epic poetry, and the very beginnings of Dravidian civilization, you are in for a real treat. Let's jump right in.
So, picture this. For more than 600 years, this incredibly vibrant civilization was thriving in South India. This era, stretching roughly from 300 BCE to 300 CE, is what we call the Sangam Age. And it gets its name from these legendary gatherings, or sangams, where camel poets and scholars would come together to create amazing literature.
But here's the mystery that really pulls you in. The legends talk about cities lost to the sea and timelines that seem, well, almost mythical. So how do we separate fact from fiction? Could the incredible world described in these ancient poems, this world of kings and warriors and overseas trade, actually have existed? That's exactly what we're going to figure out.
To get our bearings, let's look at the timeline. Scholars generally agree that the Sangam period runs from about 300 BCE to 300 CE. But what's really fascinating is that most of the major literary works we have were composed in a much tighter window, from about 100 BCE to 250 CE. That's a huge burst of creative energy in a relatively short time. And the name for this whole era, it all comes down to this one powerful concept, Sangam. It literally just means association, but in this context, it refers to those legendary academies of Tamil poets in the city of Madurai, which were sponsored by the powerful Pandya kings. This literary tradition is the absolute heart of the age.
Okay, so let's put on our detective hats. Our first line of investigation is the literature itself. We're going to treat these ancient poems like a kind of time machine, looking for clues that can transport us back to their world.
And the amount of evidence we have is just staggering. We're talking about a collection of around 2,300 poems written by almost 500 different poets. What's absolutely wild is that this entire body of work was essentially lost for centuries, only to be rediscovered in the 19th century in Hindu monasteries. It's like finding a hidden library that gives us this perfect window into an ancient world.
Now, the poetry itself is organized in this brilliant way, split into two main categories. You have aham, which is all about the inner world, love, desire, all those personal human emotions. And then you have puram, which covers the outer world, things like war, heroism, ethics, and community life. So together, they give us this amazingly complete picture of life, from the most private moments to the biggest public events. And their importance is just huge. The famous scholar A.K. Ramanujan put it perfectly. He said that these poems are pretty much unique in all of Indian literature because they feel both ancient and completely modern at the same time. They're considered a true masterpiece of Tamil genius.
But here is the absolute game changer for our investigation. These aren't just poems about feelings and battles. They are packed with specific, concrete details about the economy. They talk about ships, busy ports, merchants from faraway lands, and all the goods being traded. This is what turns them from just beautiful art into a crucial historical lens.
Poetry is one thing, right? But can we actually prove any of it? Well, that's where archaeology comes in. It's time to dig up the truth, literally, and see if the physical evidence lines up with what the poems are telling us. So let's zoom in on one key site, Kodumanal. Now, this isn't just some random spot. Kodumanal is an ancient industrial hub that is specifically mentioned by name in Sangam literature. So finding evidence here, that would be a direct, undeniable link between the poems and the real world. And you know what? The discoveries they made were just incredible. Roman silver coins, that's a smoking gun for long-distance trade. Precious stones telling us about a huge bead-making industry. And even pottery fragments with an early form of Tamil script. It all paints this vivid picture of a bustling center for trade and crafts, exactly like the poems described.
The sites at Kodumanal also have these really fascinating structures called menhirs. Basically, they're these huge standing stones that are part of megalithic burial sites. They give us these priceless clues about the society's rituals, how they honored their dead, and the kind of social organization it took to build something like this.
So, this is it. This is our big aha moment. The physical proof, especially something as concrete as Roman coins found in South India, directly backs up what the poems were saying all along. The massive maritime trade network wasn't just a poet's dream, it was real.
Okay, so now that we know our sources are solid, both the literature and the archaeology, we can finally start to reconstruct this lost world. What did this civilization actually look like? Who was in charge? How did people really live their lives?
The political scene of ancient Tamilakam, which is what the region was called, was really dominated by three major dynasties. Together, they were known as the Muvendar, or the Three-Crowned Kings. These were the Cheras, the Cholas, and the Pandyas.
Let's break this down real quick. First, you have the Cheras, with their bow and arrow symbol, controlling what's now central and northern Kerala. Then you've got the Cholas, symbolized by the tiger, ruling the super-fertile Kaveri Delta. And finally, the Pandyas, with their emblem of two fish, who were based in Madurai and were the actual patrons of the Sangam assemblies.
And this stable political setup fueled an incredible economy. The Tamil kingdoms were exporting high-value goods that people all over the ancient world wanted. We're talking about luxurious cotton fabrics, spices like pepper that were literally worth their weight in gold, beautiful ivory products, pearls, and all kinds of precious stones.
And what were they getting in return? All sorts of luxury items. Gold, powerful horses for their armies, and sweet wine, which was a huge import from the Roman Empire. This kind of two-way trade just goes to show you how sophisticated and globally connected their economy was.
So, the main takeaway here is that this was a really complex society. I mean, sure, agriculture was the backbone of the economy, but there was also a dynamic urban life. And, very importantly, women played all sorts of influential roles, not just at home, but in business, in cultural life, and even as celebrated poets in the Sangam tradition itself.
So, what's the lasting impact of the Sangam Age? Why does this ancient civilization still matter so much to us today?
What is truly mind-blowing is when you look at all the evidence of trade with Rome, with Southeast Asia and beyond, you realize you're looking at one of the earliest patterns of globalization. The Sangam people weren't living in a bubble. They were major players in this massive, interconnected world.
Ultimately, the Sangam period is the bedrock of Dravidian civilization. Its literature is the earliest we have from South India, and it provides the cultural, linguistic, and historical foundation for a region that is still vibrant and thriving today. It is a classical era, plain and simple, on par with any other in world history.
And all of this leaves us with one final fascinating thought. The entire story of the Sangam Age was pieced together from poems that were forgotten for centuries and artifacts that were buried deep in the ground. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other incredible histories are still out there, just waiting for us to find them, in a lost line of poetry or hiding right under our feet?